Amina insisted on the divorce. Her and Omar had 5 kids together, but she wanted out. The thought of him loving and sleeping with another woman was too much for her, even though it wasn't halal. Omar fought tooth and nail to keep his family together. He invited trusted family members and even local sheikhs to mediate between them. Apparently though, not even the local sheikhs can be trusted. One of them asked Amina if she would marry him if he granted her the divorce. 18 months later, Omar received a call from another sheikh. If you don't give her the khul, I will have to absolve your marriage. Omar prayed 2 rak'ah istikhara and with tears in his eyes and while still in prostration made a specific dua to Allah. Oh Allah, I am letting Amina go for your sake. Remove her from my heart for my sake. And with that, the marriage came to an end. But the story doesn't. Just a few months later, Amina calls Omar for an important discussion. She wants him back. But alas, he doesn't. Not only had Allah answered Omar's dua of removing Amina from his heart, but he quite enjoyed his newfound freedom and additional time he had with his new wife. All this time he genuinely believed marriage was meant to be miserable. That's just the way it was, he thought. And yet, his new wife showed him otherwise. Marriage was meant to be peace, respect, submission. Omar never looked back, but Amina did. Amina asked Omar to marry her again. He said no. A few months later, she asked again. Negative. A few months after that, she asked a 3rd time. Still no. 6 days after Amina asked Omar to marry her, she got married to someone else. We'll call him Backup Bodrul. Not much is known of Backup Bodrul, but from what we do know, he was a good man. He provided and cared for Amina and her children, even though he didn't have to. He put them in a new, bigger house. He took on her kids as though they were his own. Amina soon fell pregnant with Backup Bodrul's child. And 9 months later, the child was born. 12 months after that, Amina was divorced again. 2-time divorcee, 2-time baby mama. Older, fatter, wrinklier, single mum to 6 kids. To this day, Amina is still trying to get back with Omar. But remember at the beginning of this story, I told you Amina left because Omar married a 2nd wife? What I forgot to mention was, when Amina married Backup Bodrul, she was the 2nd wife. Now you've clicked this video on, how can I as a man run this process? How can I finesse the game, Mahdi? Show me the ways. Show me the blueprint. You have many wives. You have many children. Your wives are all happy with you. Show me. What's the blueprint, Mahdi? How do I do it? And Habibi, I will tell you. But I had to start this video with a story, a true story no less, of Amina and Omar. Because that story is a warning to your wife who may be watching this right now, thinking, if you marry again, I'ma leave him. I'ma out this relationship. Because the grass is always greener, right? Wrong. The grass is usually non-existent on the other side of the fence, never mind greener. So before I give you guys the playbook, this is a warning to your respective wives and families that if your husband does want to marry again and he does it in halal and he follows the correct system and the way that has been prescribed in the religion and he's not transgressing anyone's rights and so on. So long as he does that, this is a warning to you sisters. Be careful. You don't want to end up like our sister Amina. You have been warned. For those of you watching me for the first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Mahdi Tijani, and I am somewhat of a self-styled relationship expert. But not just self-styled, I have the credibility to boot. I have been married now for almost 2 decades, despite my relatively youthful appearance. Thank you very much for the compliment. And I have had many children, nearly on 10 for that matter now, alhamdulillah. And in that time, I got married at 16. Had first kid at 17, second at 18, third at 19. One of my children died when I was 20. Then I took a second wife at 25. Then I took a third wife at 27. Then I lost 2 wives by 29. I was back at one wife again. Built up a successful business, then lost the business. My life seemed to be heading in a downward spiral. And then, alhamdulillah, by the permission of Allah, I managed to re-steer that nosedive up in an upwards trajectory in the right direction once again. Stories are only interesting if there's failure and hardship. If my story was just like going like that, it should be boring. So yes, I have experienced my fair share of failures, but now alhamdulillah, back on the upwards trajectory. I've been in polygyny for many years, great many number of years, alhamdulillah. And if you want to know how many wives I have, don't be so nosy. But let's just say I'm basically at max capacity. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, all praise is due to Allah. And I have a few things to offer and share with you. You know, if you'd like to consider it, then do me a favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel. You might find other things of interest to you. But this video, I'm going to give you guys the playbook of how to run polygyny successfully. Now, one of the most obvious things that will be brought up is, does he have the money? Bro, let me tell you something, yeah? There are plenty of brothers with money who mess it up when it comes to women. With one woman, never mind many women. And whilst money is most definitely an advantage, it will quickly become a curse if you don't know how to get the best out of women psychologically up here. So before I give you the how-tos, and we will get to that, I need to give you a number of disclaimers first. You've clicked on this thumbnail, you saw the thumbnail of me and two of my wives, and you got all excited. Wow, so this really is doable. Which brings me on to my first point, which is I have a realistic expectation of how much my wives can handle. So yes, every now and then, me and my wives will spend time together, collectively, together. However, I don't make this a habit. It's not habitual. And even there are many individuals who are more ahead of me in the game of polygyny and dealing with women who would advise to not mix the women at all. I'm ambivalent towards this, and I really believe it comes down to character types. Ultimately, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ all mixed. They all live next door to each other for that matter. So it comes down to the types of characters you have in the women that you are dealing with. However, yes, there are times when, such as Eid, for example, or events of this nature where I'm one man, I can only be in so many places at once, and I have an expectation from my wives to present themselves in a cordial manner at these events, and they do. And my wives all have an unspoken agreement between each other, if you like, which is, I won't make you jealous. Please don't make me jealous. I won't step on your toes. Please don't step on my toes. I won't poke you. Please don't poke me. And in this way, there is a mutual air of respect and love for that matter. It is doable. Your wives can get on in a cordial manner. However, I don't expect them to be best friends. I don't expect them to go out and have fun together and be the best of friends. No, it's complicated. You've got multiple women who all love one man. And all of them wish and hope to be the quote-unquote favorite one, or whatever the case may be. It's natural. It's normal. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ would get jealous and envious. It's normal. So my expectation from my women is a reasonable one. They are women at the end of the day. They are prone towards emotional feelings, jealousy, and things of this nature. So you too must also have a realistic expectation of what to expect from your wife or wives. If she gets jealous, it's part and parcel of the game. If she gets a bit upset, it's part and parcel of the game. Is there a limit to what you should tolerate? Absolutely. But to expect her to just be all happy and like everything's normal is not going to happen, rude boy. Okay? Which brings me on to my next point. And I cannot emphasize this point enough, especially having experienced a diverse array of character types amongst women. I cannot emphasize this point enough, and that is pick right. Now, many of you are already in marriages with women who are very possessive or ultra jealous, or just those types of natural characteristics, but on steroids. And for you individuals, you're going to have a much harder, much tougher time having this discussion of polygyny with your wife than with a brother who has a wife who is prone to experiencing jealousy, but she's not the jealous type. She doesn't get overly jealous. Let me give you an example of the jealous type. The jealous type of woman is the type of woman who at school, when she had a mate, if her mate had a friendship with another girl, she would get jealous of it. If her mate went out with another friend, she would get jealous of it. The jealous type is the type of woman whom, if she had an attachment to a teacher in her school and the teacher started praising or giving attention to another student, she would get jealous. This is what I loosely call the jealous type. Extremely possessive, extremely, bro, is what it is. If that's the type of woman that you are with, you are going to have a much harder time of dealing with polygyny with her than with another woman, which brings me succinctly onto the next point, which is you must be mentally prepared in your head. And if you are not prepared for what I'm about to tell you, and you cannot make peace with it, and you cannot wrap your head around it, rude boy polygyny is not for you. You need to pay attention. Pens out. You must be prepared for your wife, current wife, to leave you. That is the worst case scenario. It can happen. And sometimes women make dumb mistakes. And do you know what type of woman is most prone to making this dumb mistake? If you're a good man, that is. And that's a subjective conversation there. But if you're a good man, the type of woman who is most prone to pulling the plug on a marriage, if and once she finds out you want to marry again, it's the virgin. It's the woman who's never been married before. And the one thing that men covet and crave and praise in women, interestingly enough, becomes the very thing that becomes a vice in the relationship dynamic he has with her once he wants to marry again. And that is precisely because she is a virgin, she doesn't, or she was a virgin before you married her, she doesn't have any context, any contrast, any point of comparison in experiences with other men to know any different. You could be an exceptional man. You could be a doctor. You could be a muhandis, an engineer. You could be a lawyer. You could be rich. You could be handsome. You could be tall. You could be in shape. You could be all of those things. But as far as she's concerned, that's just normal. And you have to understand this. Even if you objectively show her, but look, this is not normal. Look, I am exceptional in many ways. She doesn't get it. You are the only man she's ever had. And by extension, you are the only man that she believes that this is men. This is just how men are. Sadly for her, if she does decide to pull the plug on the marriage, she will only come to this harsh realization that actually, no, this is not all men. This is actually, I did actually have a good man. Once she's back out there in the field trying to marry again, or if indeed she does marry again and the new husband doesn't meet the expectation that she had of the old or the standard that she was used to, that the old husband accustomed her to, it's too late. And it's the one drawback that virgins have in this regard. Not all. I don't want the all police coming for me. Not all women. Rude boy, I know not all women. Okay, I'm just presenting you with the board. This is the playing field. How to actually pull this off. I'm sure this will not be a comprehensive list. I'm sure there will be things that I miss. And I'm sure, in fact, there might even be major things that I miss. Things that are so obvious to me that it feels like it doesn't need to be said. And if that's the case, and you are a man who has been in polygyny for a number of years, I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments. But only if you're a man who has been in polygyny for at least 5 years. Otherwise, bruv, nobody cares what you want to say. Seriously, nobody cares of your theory or whatever. But if you have something to add and you are qualified to speak on the matter, I'd like to hear your point of view in the comments. Let me know. First thing you need to bear in mind, and I'm going to be referring to my notes, okay, is unless you're going to do it, don't joke about it. Now, I can't tell you how many times I made this mistake in my teens and 20s with my woman at the time. Yeah, would have been with my woman, with one wife. and making the mistake of joking time and time again. Oh, you know, I'm going to get another wife. Yeah, I want to get another wife, blah, blah, blah. And I remember very clearly when I was strongly advised by one of the local imams whom I trusted and respected. And he said to me, and my wife went to him for advice. She was upset that I kept on making these types of jokes. And he said to me, Mahdi, unless you're going to do it, don't joke about it. Don't talk about it. Why? Because you are unnecessarily hurting her. You are unnecessarily pouring salt in the wound, and you're not even actually doing it. You're hurting her for nothing. Now, you have to understand why men do this, and maybe women will be interested in what the psyche of a man. Why does he joke about it? It's a cowardly way, and yes, I used to do this, and it was cowardly. It's a cowardly way of a man testing the waters, of a man looking to see her reaction, because on some level of consciousness he's looking for the green flag, he's looking for permission. And let me just give you some advice right there. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't expect to get the green flag or to get the thumbs up from your wife, no matter how agreeable and nice she is, from her for you to do it. You're going to have to grow a pair of balls and execute, pull the trigger and do it. Or don't. But don't joke about it. And definitely don't expect her to be like, yes, Habibi, please, I would love to see you less. And I would love for you to share our resources with another woman. And I would love for you to have children with another woman and bring her to my level. And what are you talking about? So do it or don't do it. But don't talk about it. And don't joke about it. Number 2, reward good behavior and punish bad. And the only way for me to be able to really communicate this effectively to you is to tell you a story. And there are a million stories I could tell you of how I effectively implemented this and how I messed up and how I, messed up. But we're going to start with a story of how I effectively implemented this principle of reward good behavior and viciously punish bad. Mahdi, are you promoting violence? No, I'm not. Punish her? What do you mean punish her? Are you some type of barbarian? No, I'm not. Punishments come in many ways, many shapes and forms. And I'm going to tell you of one that firstly and foremostly is legal. Nothing wrong with it. And secondly, it's more effective than any type of physical violence you could possibly think of. I had a number of wives and I was going to marry again. Not I was going to, I was about to marry again. And I informed my wives, I'm about to marry again. I let them know, I told them the time and the place, and I left it to as close to the period of me marrying as possible. The reason being is, there were a number of reasons. Number 1, in case it fell through, and I was like, well, what was the point in telling them? I just poked them for nothing. And number 2, in case it flaked, it fell through. It's the same reason, basically. In case it didn't happen, it didn't play out, I was like, what's the point? Maybe the new incoming wife would get cold feet, change her minds, the complicated relationship set up. Do I really want to do this? I was like, you know what? I'll tell the first bunch of wives that I have as close to the time as possible. And I took that to the nth degree, literally half an hour before. I told them. They were surprised and everything, asking me questions, but then they got on with it. They were okay. I got married again, did the nikah. All was well. Next day, all was well with the previous wives. They got on with their business. They were fine. They know what I'm about. They're like, well, you know what? We know what we signed up for. This is Mahdi at the end of the day. You know, it is what it is. The day after that, one of the wives, out of the blue, out of nowhere, throws a curveball and displays a behavioral pattern that I have never seen from her before. And she simply said, I can't do it. I'm out. I want a divorce. I said nothing. I didn't respond. I didn't message back. She called me. We spoke for a few minutes at the most, a couple of minutes, no more than that. And I said to her, take some time, go and think about it. I'm feeling emotional right now. You're feeling emotional right now. And one thing for sure is when two individuals are emotional, we're going to say things we regret. We never argued. We never fought. Nothing. I hung up the phone. And I told her to take a period of time and to not contact me in that period of time. 1 day passes. I don't message her. 2 days pass. I don't message her. 3 days pass. I don't message her. And trust and believe, I wanted to message her. I wanted to call her. I was feeling it. I was hurting. I was like, man, is this it? It's coming to an end, really? I get another wife and then I lose one. What is this? It's long, bro. It's like, I don't want to build just to destroy at the same time. What's the point in that? Anyway, I stuck to my principle. And the principle was what? She had displayed a behavior I was displeased with, that is, pulling the divorce card out of nowhere because I had married again. And I knew that if I had given her attention, which is the one thing all women want and crave, but good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. They don't differentiate. Attention is attention. If I had groveled and begged and pleaded and lowered myself, compromised on my standards and principles as a man, I would have negatively reinforced something in her mind. And that is, when I threaten with divorce, he begs and pleads and grovels and offers to give me the world and all the rest of it. Maybe I should do that more often. This is how women think. Pay attention. And I said to myself, I don't care how I'm feeling. I ain't messaging this woman. I ain't contacting nothing. We're going to wait for this period of time to elapse. And only then, and it was like nearly a month, the time frame that I gave her. And only then when I reach back out to her. So day 1 passes, day 2 passes, day 3 passes, day 4 passes, day 5 passes. And I don't message her. And I don't contact her. Lo and behold, on day 6, I receive a phone call. I didn't recognize the number. There was a number of digits on the screen. I answered the phone. And it's the wife. One of my wives, the one who wanted the divorce, supposedly. Why did I not recognize the number? Because I had deleted her contact from my phone book. And that's how I am with women. I'm brutal, bruv. Like, once you start playing that game with me, that's it. I'll go through the process of evicting you from my heart, from my mind, from everything. I don't play games with women. And that's why they love me, alhamdulillah. And that's why you're going to see as the story continues. She calls me. She was distressed. She was upset. We speak. She wanted to meet. We met. We started speaking. How could you leave me all of this time? You didn't message me. You didn't contact me. I said, slow down, woman. Is that the play? Was that the play? Threaten the divorce card so that I can come back and grovel and plead and beg and give you attention and so on. And you know what? Honestly, I don't even think women are thinking like that. I genuinely don't believe, although they can be malicious, but I genuinely don't believe women operate with malicious intent all the time. I genuinely believe it is their modus operandi. They can't help themselves. It's just badihi, natural to them. They can't help but behave in this way. Cause a kerfuffle, cause a drama, knowing, consciously or subconsciously, that most men will respond in a manner that is pleasing to them. Gives them attention, begs, pleads, grovels, apologizes, all the rest of it. I didn't do that. We spoke for a number of hours and we ironed out all of the issues, and then I made it very clear to her, never, ever, ever again threaten with divorce. Ever. We can disagree. We can talk. We don't have to agree on everything all the time. But the D word, we don't go there unless you mean it. And let that be a lesson to you women watching right now. Unless you mean it, don't say it. Because if you do, you might just get it. And that could be extremely regretful for you. Spoke to the wife. She said to me, I never want to experience that again. You ignoring me like that, like I never existed. I said to her, no. Slow down. It's not me. Own your shit. That was you. You said you wanted a divorce. I said to you, have this period of time to truly think about it. Let her taste what divorce will be before you give her the divorce. Let me repeat that one more time for those of you who missed it at the back. Let her taste what divorce will be like before you actually divorce her. How do you do that? You just go dead. Let her taste it. And if after a period of time, couple of weeks, a month, whatever the agreed time period is, she still feels the same, bro, it means she doesn't like you. She really wants out. That's what that means. Okay, there's nothing you can do. I can't help you there. And I was mentally prepared for that. I was mentally prepared for Actually, that I genuinely believe that would be the case, actually. Maybe that's because the way I mentally prepare myself is with the worst case scenario in mind. Perhaps because it's easier for me to then deal with the worst case scenario it's easier for me to actually deal with that event, that worst case scenario event, if it actually happens, if I have been preparing myself mentally all along for it. However, if I'm sitting there hoping and wishing and praying and so on, and then the worst case scenario comes, I'm going to be caught off guard. I'm going to behave in a manner that I would not be proud of looking back on it in hindsight. So this is how I conduct my affairs. She said, I never want to experience that again. I said to her, no problem, sweetheart. Never, ever say that again. Because if you do, you know what the outcome will be. And the funny thing is, my wives will watch my content and they're watching this right now and they're thinking, oh man, oh shit. Yes, I love you guys, but be careful. Because if I need to cut you, I'll cut you. Mwah. So how does this relate to you watching me right now? I want you to always remember, reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. Reward behavior you want to see more of. When your wife is nice, reward her. When she's good to you, reward her. Don't take her for granted. Don't overlook the things that she does for you. The way that she cooks your food and takes care of your children. Take her out. Have fun. Reward this good behavior. But when she displays a behavior that is displeasing to you, she's behaving erratically. She's showing her temper. She's showing her fangs, her teeth. Viciously punish her. And the way you do that is you ignore the shiat out of her. That is the one thing that women cannot stand. She will argue with you, she will fight with you, but the one thing she can't tolerate is being ignored by you. You know why? Because women thrive off of the attention of men in general, and especially their husbands. Especially their husbands. When you ignore her like she doesn't exist, it is the one thing she can't handle. I need you to develop a level of self-restraint, okay? Because it's not easy. Especially when the relationship's in a rocky period, and when you all go through rocky periods in a relationship. But I need you to develop that inner mental strength and resilience to be able to stand firm and ignore her. Don't respond to her text. Don't respond to her messages. If needs be, even like hire a hotel room and stay on your own for a night or two or something, or send her back to her parents. Ignore her and see. If she doesn't respond in kind, or in a manner that is pleasing to you, maybe there are other things going on. However, most women will fall back in line and remember the pain of that experience. I don't want to experience that again, like one of my wives said. You're willing to sacrifice. And if you have a question you want to ask me directly, you want to get closer to me, you want to benefit from the gazillions of things that are in my private community, check out the link in the top pinned comment and in the description. You will be able to get closer to me there. You can even book a one-on-one consultation with me and I will fix your life, but I will rip your eyeballs out in the process, my friend. But trust and believe, it's cheaper than continuing in the misery that you're in right now. This next point number 3, in fact, I'm going to read from the book, okay, is that she needs to feel safe emotionally. This actually, one of these points came from one of my wives, and it's actually a really good point. In that, you're not getting another woman because there is something wrong with the current wife, and she's looking for reassurance. Now, one thing that women do when they're looking for reassurance is they won't be direct. All right, they have this disease, this sickness of looking for one thing from you, but presenting you with a completely different argument to try and get it. It is a sickness. For example, oh, you really love her, don't you? Oh, it's because she's so beautiful, isn't it? And the disease and the sickness here is that what she actually wants to say is it because there's something wrong with me? Is it because you're not attracted to me? Is it because you think I'm ugly? Habibti, I wish you would say that. It'd make my life so much easier. I'm slowly learning womanese, by the way. Like my hold on the most difficult language on planet Earth, womanese, is finally starting to improve after nearly 20 years and many wives of marriage, alhamdulillah. But complicated language to learn. Anyway, when she does that, what she's looking for is reassurance. And she wants to feel emotionally safe in that regard. Now, it may well be that you are marrying again because there is something lacking in your current wife. And I have dealt with brothers like this. I have to say, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me in that regard, that I have never ever married again because there was something wrong or deficient in my eyes with the current wife or wives. It's never been a thing for me, ever. Alhamdulillah, all praise is due to Allah. But absolutely it could be. Okay, let's use the more practical things. Maybe your first wife's infertile. Maybe she can't have children. Now, this is really a genuinely legitimate cause for marrying again. And furthermore, there is actually something wrong with her as well. And you know what? I don't even want to say something wrong with her because that's not fair to the sisters who are infertile. However, there is something that you want that she is unable to give you, and she will know full well that you're marrying again to get it from someone else. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is, and that's a tough situation. However, let's say it's less than that, because at least with this one here, the woman can say, you know what, it's out of my hands. Qaddar Allah ma sha fa'al. It is what it is. But let's say it's because you find your wife unattractive, or because she's not very loving, or there's some type of lack, some type of subjective lack in her. Maybe it's not subjective. If you, sister, if you're 20 stones and you're size 50, whatever it is, yeah, and you're built like a shit brick house, Habibti, you need to lose some weight, all right? Probably all stinks under there, under all them rolls as well, bruv. Like, seriously, go and sort yourself out. Can you blame the man? Mate, honestly, you should love me for who I am. No, you look like a whale is who you are. We don't like whales. We like women, not whales. Hashtag women, not whales. In the comment, women, not whales. So it's very important that the current wife or wives don't feel like you are trying to replace or bring in a replacement or a substitute for something that they don't have, even if it is the case. All right, now this is where game comes in. This is where hikmah comes in. And by the way, I ain't saying that I'm some game guru, all right? I'm just slightly ahead of you, that's all. For you watching right now, I'm just a bit ahead of you. But I know I make mistakes and I ain't no guru. Alhamdulillah, I've never been tested in that regard of feeling like, oh, I really need another wife because this one ain't got it or whatever. That's never been me, but this can genuinely happen. And if you are a man who finds himself in this situation, that you are displeased or dissatisfied with your current wife for whatever reason, then you need to be smart, Habibi. Don't go and tell her this is because you are not very loving, or you are, I don't know, you are your eyes look funny. Bro, come on, man. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, have a bit of mercy, have a bit of hikmah, have a bit of game, be a bit smart. Don't you want an easy life? Yani, you want to marry again? Don't you want it to be an easy life? You know, you want to experience harmony with another woman coming in, not chaos and mayhem. So be smart with how you go about handling her emotions. And I'm not saying to acquiesce or to have endless discussions until the cows come home, because that's a waste of time as well. Half the time, brother, yeah, half the time, you know what you need to do to your current wife? Don't talk. She's upset. You know what you do? Grab her by the back of the head and go and do as man and woman do in the privacy of their bedroom. That will solve half your problems, believe me. Women will present you with one thing, and the reality is she just wants to feel desired, so let her feel desired. Another major blunder that men make is openly comparing and criticizing between the wives. For example, oh, she cooks better than you. Oh, she cleans better than you. I've probably made this mistake in the past as well, to be honest with you. Don't do it. Especially when I was younger, in my 20s. Don't do it. All right? Yes, you are going to experience different qualities from the different women that you have. One of your wives will be better at this, and one of your wives will be better at that. It's just the way it goes. They don't need to know about it. That's for you and you alone. Enjoy them both. Enjoy this one, what she does here, and enjoy that one, what she does there. But they don't need to know. That's your business. Keep it to yourself. Finally, and perhaps the most important point, is that any major problems you have with your current wife or wives, major, not minor, major, will be amplified, will be placed under a glaring microscope, will be pumped up on steroids once you involve another woman in the picture. A woman may have tolerated your brokenness whilst it was just you and her. A woman may have tolerated the temperamental function or dysfunction of your member. All that weed, bro. It's making little man, tiny man. Do you understand? She might have been, Allah, okay, whatever, he's got my kids, I'll be patient. The moment you involve another woman in the picture, any major problems you have are going on, they're going to the moon, and it's not coming back, it's staying there. So be careful. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't marry again if you have major problems, especially if those major problems are, for example, she can't fall pregnant, or she is not interested in intimacy as much as you are. Now, these are the major issues, but like, we're going to do commit haram? No. But other things that are within your control, such as, like I mentioned, the member function, or maybe you're lazy, you're not working hard enough, and you're just getting by scraping the barrel, now you propose on bringing another woman in, and so on and so forth. These are other issues that are going to get pumped up on steroids if you involve another woman in the picture. Now, ideally, and by the way, there is never a good time to get married again. No matter how agreeable, no matter how nice, no matter how open she is to it, never will you ever catch a woman jumping up and down, yes, please, me, pick me, I want you to marry another woman. Unless there's a few screws loose in her head, like the one you see on TikTok, yeah? It's not normal. It's against her fitrah. Think about it logically. Why would a woman want you to spend less time with you unless she doesn't like you? Why would she want you to spend money on another woman? And that doesn't even make sense, because even if she doesn't like you, she wants your money. It don't make sense. It really is a sacrifice on the woman's part. It's a sacrifice. She's making a sacrifice of sorts. So with that being the case then, any issues you have right now are going to get pumped up on steroids once you bring in another woman. Ideally, you want to marry again when things are well between you. And remember, it's never perfect, it's never ideal, and you're always going to have issues, and she's always going to feel some type of way. But ideally, that's the time to marry again. Because if you do marry again when you are going through major problems with your current wife, those major problems are about to go to the moon, and it ain't coming back. What did you think of the video? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments. And make sure you share the video with someone who you believe would benefit from it. And if you enjoyed this video, you will most probably enjoy an interview I did with one of my wives a couple of years ago. It's a couple hours long, and we go into a lot of detail on the dynamics of a polygynous relationship and a whole bunch of other things that honestly I can't really remember because it was 2.5 years ago. But I do know that the video was very well received, has a whole bunch of views, and I'm pretty sure if you haven't watched it, you will like it too. You can check it out here.